I saw the film a couple of nights ago, and I think I enjoyed it. And I think I enjoyed it even more watching it with all of you here. It's really different to see something with another group of people and an audience. Yeah. Jeanne probably doesn't need much of an introduction to you all. Everyone knows I think that she grew up in Tulsa, and she was a local TV and radio personality here. And then she went off to Juilliard, and the very prestigious school in New York. And the next thing we knew, we were seeing her in big movies like The Firm and Basic Instinct, alongside Tom Cruise, Michael Douglas, Kevin Costner, big films. And more recently, she starred in the HBO series Big Love, critically acclaimed, 5 seasons. So, how did you get involved in We Only Know So Much? What drew you to this role?
Well, first, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Nobody goes to movie theaters anymore, it seems, unless it's some big cinematic universe. And I really appreciate you leaving your beautiful homes and coming here. And thank you to Stephanie Lefevre, who has made this amazing community of film lovers. So I want to thank her for supporting this film, supporting our little film. And I want to thank my family and my friends and everybody for coming out. All right, so what was your question?
So how did you get involved in this film?
Well, actually, I've known Donnie for years and years. He's very good friends with Ben Stiller, who has been to Tulsa on many occasions. And Donnie had this film. He knew Elizabeth Crane, Betsy, who wrote the book. I guess Betsy had been his assistant, and she left. She wrote We Only Know So Much, and Donnie read it and said, oh my God, this will make an incredible film. And so he told Ben and some other people who he wanted involved with it about the movie, and they thought of me and asked me, and it was just a great group of people, and who wouldn't want to hang out with them, and it all came together really well.
What's the difference between filming an independent film like this and filming like some big budget
Catering.
movies? Catering.
It's everything. I don't know if you know, we shot this movie in 11 days. And 11 days. And actually, maybe 11 and a half. I had to fly back east. It took 3 years for this movie to come out, and I think you can tell our time marker is Noah Schnapp, who Noah was 10 when he made it, and then he went on to do Stranger Things. He's the young boy in Stranger Things. And we only worked for 3 days, which is, almost a third of the movie. As we like to say, 1 day is a great deal. We were shooting, I think, 36 pages a day. But I went back for reshoots, and like 2 years later, so Noah by this time, anyway, we were all sitting around and waiting for the camera to set up, and we were wondering about what's going to happen to this movie, because the film industry had just sort of really collapsed, and independent films were, having a hard time being seen. And Donnie leaned over and he said, well, I think our movie's saved. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, do you know who plays your little boy? And I said, no. And he said, it's Noah from Stranger Things. And I went, are you kidding? We're alive. We're going to be saved.
You said you had watched Stranger Things.
And I didn't even recognize him. No, he had gone through puberty, and I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, I saw the whole entire season. That's Noah? That's,
My son?
Embarrassing. Yeah. It's really time.
Well, Noah was great, and all the children were really wonderful.
It was just, yeah, when it comes together, it comes together. And Damian Young, who played my husband, I was so excited. I don't know, did anybody see The Comeback with Lisa Kudrow? I mean, he's practically stole it away from her. The episode 5 of The Comeback is truly one of the funniest moments in television ever. And so when Damon was even considering to do it, I was really excited. And I mean, I think he's just brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, he's got one of those faces you don't know whether he's serious or funny. It's sort of off-putting. And my favorite line of the movie is, you know, what is wrong with you? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of,
With
that's the
lipstick
movie.
on the
Yeah.
face. Yeah. Well, I had the pleasure of interviewing your friend Laura Linney when she was in town here for Town Hall, and she had just wonderful things to say about you. And I understand that when that you were here in town when she was here, and
Yeah.
you guys got together. Tell us what you all did.
Well, it was my dad's birthday, so I came into town, and it just coincided with her town hall visit. So we had adjoining suites at the Hotel Ambassador, and we sort of just made it a big old slumber party. And she had never seen Tulsa. She had never, met my friends, and had never, she just said, "I have to see your Tulsa." So she did the town hall, she came back to the hotel, and then I took her all over. I took her to Utica Square, and she met my dad, and it was great. And she loved Tulsa. She said, "I get it," because I'm always coming home. So she said, I get it.
Yeah. How about some questions from the audience? Okay.
How do I balance family and work life? I have a teenage son, he's 16. My balance is I don't work. There is no balance. Right now, I find it really, I'm not one of those people that I just don't even, I would never brag or never think to say that I can do it all. I'm just not a multitasker that way. I have only one son, so it's not like I have, what do they say, an heir and a spare. I just have one, so poor thing, I know he wishes that I would work and leave him alone. So that's really what I've been doing, and also my husband Leland is an actor, and it's just been a magical balance in that when he works, I don't work, and we very rarely work at the same time. So, yeah, it's a balance that never quite balances. But he's a good boy. He's worth it.
Any other
A
questions?
man, he's a man.
Thank you again for a wonderful character-driven drama.
Thank you.
So few and far between these days. And I want you to know how many hours of sleep I lost during high school and college listening to your radio program.
Thank you. It was the greatest job for a teenager. Come on. I mean, it was the greatest job. Tulsa really prepared me. Anyway, you had a question. Go ahead.
Was that your first entertainment job?
Radio, yeah. And I was doing plays at the same time. I mean, there was a period right before I left for New York that I was doing a TV, I was doing, by the time I left, it was night shift, I think, and then had the show in the morning, and then I would do a play at night. So we'd do the night shift because there was a simulcast at, what was it called? Was it Charlie's Nostalgia? Was it on Brookside? And that would be on the weekends, and you all were just so supportive. Everybody thought, well, how could you just go from zero to, I left school and just started doing movies right away. It's like, this is nothing. You have no idea. I got the greatest experience here. Just great.
What do you remember of Tulsa Little Theater?
Tiger and Traction. plays, but Tiger and Traction, I remember that production. And then I went, yeah, I was there all the time, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. Yeah. It was a good experience.
Any other
Community theater is amazing.
Oh. Thank-
I wondered if you could tell us a bit about working at such an early point in your career with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that was, the firm for me was really Sidney Pollack. He was an actor's director, and I learned so much. I learned so much from Gene Hackman, actually. At one point I said, so what is the most important thing about acting? And he said, relaxation. Because, I'd be like, just chatting away on the set, and then Gene Hackman is just sitting in his chair, and he's just, very calm, and acting with him was just, it was a dream, He just is in the moment, and Sidney Pollack, I was really, I was very lucky, really lucky, and I really had to rise to a particular level of concentration, and it was an intense shoot.
Nancy?
Pardon me?
Have you ever had your own personal make your own reality moment?
Have I owned? I think I had my own personal make your own reality moment when I was a teenager here. I did. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew, and I just was writing and performing, and I did. I just made my own reality, and that's why I'm so thankful that Tulsa's an amazing place, and welcoming creativity and artists. There's a real appreciation. We as Oklahomans have a long history of really talented people in this state, and I think a lot of it is fueled and supported by the citizens, So I made my own reality, and I was lucky that everybody accepted it and liked it, and it's good.
Oh, way back there.
Yeah, so my question is, since you've done both television and film, what's the difference between the preparation of a character that you take over multiple seasons versus one in the film?
That's a great question. In film, it's all right there. The arc of the story is in one script, and the creators of a show, for instance, Big Love, they know going into it. Although I've heard there are a couple of shows like David Lynch, he doesn't know how it's going to end, but Mark and Will, who created Big Love, they went in, pitched it to HBO, but we had no idea. I don't want to ruin it for anybody if they haven't seen the ending, but we had no idea what the ending was going to be. And let me tell you, it was really intense the last 4 months of shooting. Certain characters didn't know what was going to happen to them, but the creators did. So as actors, I wouldn't know from season to season what was happening with my character. I didn't know the end. Maybe, at the beginning of a season, they'd give me a little hint of what was to come, but it's filmed, I think for most actors, it's the same, finite time you're dealing with, a season, an entire film script, like that.
Oh, gosh.
I love it.
There.
The movie Waterworld was notoriously over budget and faced lots of challenges.
I have been over budget. I have been over budget. The challenges on that film, there were so many challenges, but there were physical challenges. Just to get to the set every day was a physical challenge because the actual set was, at the time, the largest freestanding floating structure in the world. So we would leave from the dock, get in a boat, transfer to another boat to get into, the film set. And then I'm not a water person, so I was seasick the entire time. Ginger does not work, and neither do those acupuncture points. They don't work. And so when I think of Waterworld, I think of the physical, aspects, and a body covered in makeup every single day. You had to stand with your arms and legs, and they sprayed you with this, spray tan, and it was just a physical, and it went on forever. And we would play poker every Monday night. I would play poker with the producers and Dennis Hopper, and at one point I was complaining about, 3 months in, I was complaining to Dennis, like, God, this is so long, it's never gonna end. And he just leaned over and he said, "You never want this to end." And he was right, He'd spoken from an actor with a very long career. So I think physically it was really, and then also the script fell apart, so we were, waiting in a boat while they were finishing writing a scene, or that's how I became so close to Dennis, because we would just sit in our trailers for sometimes days, just drinking. He made the strongest coffee, and we would just sit there totally caffeinated, and I heard his whole life story about Mexico and acid in a plane, and we were just waiting to shoot. So it was 166 days.
Wow.
166 days, yeah.
The young woman with the dark hair and glasses, did you still have a question?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Your friend was here, being from town, you took her to Union Square. Did you by any chance take her to the university?
The university? To TU? We had 2 hours, and then our flight took off. So we just had lunch, because it was near the Hotel Ambassador, and my dad, she met my family. So that was kind of it. She was on a 4 o'clock flight. So, but I love University of Tulsa. Yeah. I actually went there for 1 semester. But anyway.
Go to you. Did you?
Well, for years, it was Nelson's Buffeteria. I went to Nelson's before I left Tulsa. I went to Nelson's 5 days a week. I don't know how I didn't gain any weight, but I would have the same thing every single day. And was it Smitty who was one of the servers, Smitty? One day I was there, I was right before I left for New York, and I came in late, and there were these 2 women ahead of me, or actually, yeah, these 2, was I in front of them? Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, so they were ahead of me, and they were like, I think I'm gonna have some cottage cheese and some Jell-O. I'm really trying to watch my weight, I'm just trying to. And so while they were trying to figure out, Smitty knew what I wanted, and he got my plate, and it was like a double order of mashed potatoes, chicken fried steak, covered in gravy, smothered in gravy. And they look at this plate he's making me, and he brings it past them, hands it to me, and goes, "Show him how to eat, Jeannie." It was, I love Nelson's. Haven't been there in a while.
It's on Memorial now.
Do they have 2 locations? Just 1? All right, good to know. Nice.
Gee,
I love the scene between you and the dad when you were, helping him with his poem.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize until the end that that was Loud and
It was Loud and
Wainwright.
Wainwright. I actually like his son Rufus, who wrote Tulsa. That's the most amazing song ever. So I knew him, I knew of him, but I just knew he was an icon for in the '60s and '70s, and he was great. He was just all soul. He would just come to the set and, just wait around. And he had a really, intense role as far as, Alzheimer's and juggling. It was really tough for him to kind of find that fine line. But I thought he did a beautiful job. It's not easy. Sometimes that's overplayed, and he just played it right down the middle, really simple.
Hi, so I moved from Michigan to Tulsa for work. It took me a while to find Circle Cinema, but I'm a member now. I
Oh.
love it. I'm going to go to Nelson's for 15.
Nelson's Buffeteria on Memorial, yes.
Place I should go to.
I haven't lived here in a long time. I'm trying to think of. I haven't been to there. I haven't been to Brookside. I'd go to Brookside. Pardon me?
Go to the new one on 61st and Sheridan. It's awesome.
Tallies. Any other suggestions? Any? Queenie's. What am I talking about? Queenie's in Utica Square. Queenie's catered my wedding. Yeah. Ruthie at Queenie's. Yeah. Fried chicken, macaroni and cheese. Pardon me? Aw. Aw. Queenie's. Ruthie. Oh, yeah, you like grits? She's got good grits. It's great.
So, one more question, is that? Oh, you have a question, okay.
Hey, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
That's right. This is her. This is hers.
It takes a village.
It-
So we thank all of you for helping us make our job successful. Jeanne, would you just address or visit with us a moment about why making independent film is important?
Well, it's been a rough couple of years in film for, as you go to the movies and it's great. It's the cinematic universe, it's Marvel, it's big and bright and flashy, and there is a place in the world for that. I love it. I've got a son who loves to go to those movies, but, along the way, these middle and smaller movies have really, they've sort of been pushed aside. And it's all balancing out because we're all looking at Netflix and HBO, and a lot of these smaller films are going to Netflix, and we're watching them on our iPads and our phones, and but we have to get out and continue to go to the theaters, and it's really hard, because they're making it so easy for us to see everything at home, and I've been guilty. But I actually have to make an effort. I'll even go by myself now. I will go to the theaters. I go to ArcLight in Hollywood, all the the theaters near my house. I really try to support these theaters, because if you don't support them, they go out of business, and then it just sort of becomes a conglomerate. And theaters like Circle Cinema, they can be the heart of your community, and you can see stories and go places that you can't go in these, on your iPad. There's something about being in a community of people when you're sitting with, you can just really lose yourself like you can't at home, and you're interrupted, and you can't really just go deep into a story. So as far as this, the state of independent cinema, I think it's going to balance out. There's a great book I just read because, my husband is an actor and a director, and we just look at each other every single day and just, what is happening? What is going on in our business, and how are we, not necessarily how are we going to survive, but it's very different from when we started out. If you're interested in film, I just read a great book called The Big Picture by Ben Fisk. I think it's called The Big Picture, and it is really a state of the union as far as what's happening in cinema right now, and digital, online streaming, and the state of independent cinema. And it's a fascinating story. I mean, I could go on and tell you exactly what happened, but I'm not going to bore you. But it's, the bottom line is just to come out to the theater, to bring your body, take it off the couch, and come in and have a communal experience. Because if you don't, we will lose it. I know, Stephanie, you've had some lean years here, where people just aren't coming to the movies. So, I mean, does that answer, or just, yeah, it's, our movie, I mean, for instance, this movie will be picked up. We're actually in talks with the distributor right now, and the distributor said, no, we're not going to theaters at all. So I think the director and some of the producers are going to do a Kickstarter just to get it into a theater in LA and New York for awards consideration. But it's going to go to Netflix or Stars, or, it's going to go straight to digital. Because, these middle, like medium budget dramas, adult dramas, they just, people aren't going to the theater to see them. So it was exciting to come here. And Stephanie said, we want to show your film. And I don't really see my films a lot, especially in the theater, but I wanted to see this because it's not going to be in the theaters. It will be on an iPad, which is great. There's a place in the world for that, but that's why I really appreciate you all coming out for it. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Well, I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
May I just say something? I want to thank you for making a movie that is believable, that has real characters you can relate to, and that touches the heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.